Welcome to the 2020 All-World Awards presented by Bill Knight Automotive. I'm Guerin, Emig, Tulsa sports columnist, along with my co-host Bill Knight. We're grateful that he's allowed us to come out and partake in this year's ceremony. We're glad you have joined us. And first to note about this year's program, we made the decision to proceed out of respect to all of the high school athletes who represented the Tulsa area so well over the past year. And while we are heartbroken for all of the winter and spring athletes whose seasons were cut short by the pandemic, we want this program to serve as a reminder of the inspiration that high school athletics in Tulsa, around the area, and across the state can be. So thanks again for tuning in. And before we start handing out awards, it's my pleasure to introduce the program's co-host and presenting sponsor, Mr. Bill Knight.
Yeah, thanks, Guerin. Really a pleasure to be hosting with you today. I know this isn't what any of us thought it would be when the school year started, but I'm really proud that we both stayed with it, and we get a chance to recognize some really great accomplishments from high school athletes in our community. I also would like to take a minute to talk about why we chose to partner with the Tulsa World. And I think, first of all, this would have been my third banquet. So I've been there as a guest two times and really got to watch what you guys have done for high school athletes in the last couple of years and how much pride and how much recognition happens during the event. And I wanted to be part of that, and I wanted to help you guys continue the great work that you've already started. And it's also important to know that we wanted to support the Tulsa World. I think you guys are really important to the Tulsa community. Not only I think you're the best at covering high school sports, but I also think you're the place where we learn about our community. And I think in times like this, it's important to learn. It's important to learn another point of view. It's important to learn. Sometimes I love learning on Mondays what makes you laugh, cry, and think. And it's just a great place to be. So I always say, whether you're getting your local news on a device or in the actual paper, it's just important to get your local news. So we're excited to be here, and let's get started.
All right, absolutely. We do thank Bill for his support for what we do and what high school athletics mean for the community. But a couple of more thanks to pass out before we get to the awards. I know that's why you guys have tuned in, but we don't have games, we don't have stories of games, I should say, and stories of the athletes without our two lead high school writers. And I'd like to thank and congratulate Mike Brown and Barry Lewis for their continued excellence when it comes to covering high school sports. That they amaze me year after year with the volume and quality of their coverage. Again, without them, a lot of these stories aren't known. I told a few of those stories myself back in August and September. It seems like a decade ago after everything we've been through. But I had a chance to write about Webbers Falls, a community in Muskogee County that was ravaged by floods, and really had a challenge on their hands and a real hard time. But the support that community showed each other, and in particular showed its football team, its high school football team, I think was a real inspiration. And that football team, they only had 17 players, Bill, come out for the season. It's typical for a school that size. And they served as a real support system for a community that was trying to rally together and do amazing things in light of very difficult circumstances. And I will remember that for as long as I'm a writer at the World. Something else I did back in September was a profile of a young man named Will Lamley, who was a legally blind defensive lineman at Rejoice Christian. I spent an unforgettable day watching Will practice and talk with him and his family in the bleachers out at Rejoice. That became one of my favorite stories and columns of the past year. And it's Will's perseverance and character, as well as the perseverance and character of all of those folks out in Webbers Falls that I'm thinking about today as we navigate these difficult times ourselves and give out these awards here this afternoon. You don't need to be a starting quarterback in the NFL or a point guard in the NBA to make a difference. You don't even need to be a scholarship D1 athlete to inspire a community, and that's what you guys do. You who participate in high school athletics, who are tuned into this program. You don't need a state championship ring. You don't even need to make the playoffs. It's just you being at practice and having a conversation with a teammate, making a difference in your community. That's what this is about. That's what high school athletes around here are all about. I know that personally. I know Barry and Mike and every one of my colleagues at the World knows that. I know, Bill, you know that. And you will continue to be an inspiration as we manage COVID-19 and help set our course toward racial and social justice and reform. So congratulations, not just on your successes over the past year, but on your character and the difference you continue to make, the influence that you continue to have. So that editorial aside, let's hand out some awards. You ready for this? Let's do it. First, we'll start with the Bill Knight, and I should say that the winners will receive $1,000 to be used as a scholarship or to be donated in their name to their high school. So that's what the value of the awards are all about tonight. As far as the winners of the awards, let's start with number 1, Bill, and go with the Bill Knight Automotive Girls Basketball Player of the Year. We'll announce the finalists, and then you can have the honor of announcing the winner. Journey Armstead of Sand Springs is our first finalist, followed by Haley Grant of Claremore, Lexi Keys of Tahlequah Sequoia, Wyvette Mayberry of Booker T. Washington, and Tamira Poindexter of Sapulpa.
And the winner is, and this is exciting for me. I remember when Wyvette was born, actually. So Wyvette Mayberry from Booker T. Washington.
That's fantastic. Congratulations to Wyvette, the daughter of former NBA guard Lee Mayberry, who has quite a legacy in this community as far as sports. And Wyvette is signed to play for Texas Arlington. To the Bill Knight Automotive Boys Basketball Player of the Year, the finalists are Kayvon Key of Memorial, Trey Phipps of Booker T. Washington, Anthony Pritchard from Webster, Devon Richardson from Sand Springs, and Trey's backcourt running mate Bryce Thompson from Booker T. Washington. Bill?
Yep, and the winner is Bryce Thompson from Booker T. Washington. Well deserved.
Well deserved, and Rock Chalk Jayhawk for our KU fans tuned in.
That's right.
He's on his way to Lawrence to play for Bill Self and the Jayhawks. The Tulsa World recently caught up with the KU signee, and here is a portion of that interview.
What comes to mind when you think about the career that you had at Booker T. Washington?
Definitely that state championship, because, we came short the first 2 years. So, to finally get that championship, it was good. It was a big relief, and we were definitely looking to try to get one more, but that was a great feeling.
How frustrating was it for you when they told you that the state tournament was not going to be played this year?
It was very frustrating. I was trying to go back to back. We had come so far. We had had a great season, and to be cut short like that, it was rough because it was literally the day of the state tournament. So it was crazy.
Is there anybody that you'd like to thank for all the success that you've had at Booker T. Washington? I know there's probably a lot of people, but I'm going to leave. The stage is yours now, Bryce.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want.
You'd have to thank my coaching staff, the players, and also my dad, because my dad has been there, from the jump, making sure I'm in the gym, making sure I'm doing this, doing that. So you always got to thank your pops for putting the ball in your hand and just guiding you on this journey.
Now the finalists for the Bill Knight Automotive Softball Player of the Year. Savannah Evans leads us off from Broken Arrow, Paige Knight from Owasso, and Celeste Wood from Hilldale.
And the Softball Player of the Year goes to Savannah Evans from Broken Arrow.
Well deserved. She was 19-1 for the Tigers this past year in softball, an ERA of 1.11.
Wow.
It's practically unhittable, 90 strikeouts. So congratulations to Savannah. To cross country and the Bill Knight Automotive Girls Cross Country Athlete of the Year, the three finalists, led by Ella Eureste of Bishop Kelly, Peyton Hinkle, Broken Arrow, and Avery Mazie from Jinx.
And the winner goes to Peyton Hinkle, another one from Broken Arrow.
Gosh, Tigers did all right this year, didn't they? Only a sophomore. She's only a sophomore. I think we may hear from her again in future shows. She won the 6A state championship as well as the Frontier Conference title, and was first in the Broken Arrow and Tahlequah meets. To the Bill Knight Automotive Boys Cross Country Athlete of the Year, the three finalists are Nate Gibson from Lincoln Christian, Caden Goss from Fort Gibson, and from Bartlesville, Spencer Hales.
And the winner is Caden Goss from Fort Gibson.
Caden is a junior who won the regional and state championships in Class 4A last fall, and primed for, I'm sure, a big senior season after the athletes return here in the coming weeks. To volleyball, the finalists for the Bill Knight Automotive Volleyball Player of the Year are Beth Bayless from Regent Prep, Macy Blackburn, another Broken Arrow Tiger, Lady Tiger in this case, and Jaxie Wakely from Victory Christian.
And the winner is Jaxie Wakely from Victory Christian.
And we have another interview we'd like you to dial up. The Tulsa World recently caught up with Jaxie, who signed with Oral Roberts University, and we'd like to play you a portion of that interview now.
How did it feel to win a third straight state championship?
I mean, it was just
amazing. It's one of the greatest feelings. I mean, it's hard to describe it. Like, still, it doesn't feel real. It's crazy. I'm so grateful to have had all the opportunities, to have the people around me who have got me to where I am today, all the coaches, my family. It's been amazing.
Well, you said it doesn't feel real. You got to experience that 3 times.
Yeah.
Is it cool to have won 3 in a row? I mean, not many people can say that.
Yes, it is. I'm really grateful to have had the opportunity to win 3 in a row and just been able to finish out and just been able to push through like ups and downs and just get those rings. And yeah, I'm very grateful.
To the finalists for the Bill Knight Automotive Girls Swimmer of the Year for 2019 and 20, Lainey Fenton of Jinx is our first finalist, followed by Abby Mink from Bishop Kelly and Sydney Perry from Bartlesville. Bill?
And the winner is Lainey Fenton from Jinx.
Congratulations to Lainey, well deserved. She won both the 500-meter freestyle and the 100-meter breaststroke at this year's Class 6A state championship meet, and that helped the Trojans claim their first girls state championship since 2010. So to the boys swimmer of the year, the Bill Knight Automotive Boys Swimming Athlete of the Year. Finalists are Austin Bick, back at Jinx, Jack Callan of Bishop Kelly, and Daniel Sibley of Union.
And the winner this year is Jack Callan from Bishop Kelly.
Jack is familiar. If you know anything about this program, you know about Jack. He was the All-World Swimmer of the Year a year ago. Came back this season, won the 5A state championship in the 200-meter freestyle and the 500 free, breaking state records in the process, held by his older brother Patrick. They've sort of got a Callan family dynasty on this award. The brothers have won all 4 of the All-World Awards for male swimmer.
Wow.
And you can even go back to 2016, the year before we did our first program, when Patrick was our Swimmer of the Year that year. So that gives the Callan family 5 consecutive Metro Swimmer of the Year awards.
Wow.
Just about unbelievable in that regard. To the mat and the finalists for the Bill Knight Automotive Wrestler of the Year, Cougar Andersen of Skiatook, Eli Griffin of Cascia Hall, and Caleb Tanner of Collinsville are your 3 finalists. Let's hear the winner.
And the winner goes to Caleb Tanner from Collinsville.
Congratulations to Caleb, who finished his career as Oklahoma's 39th 4-time state champ. He's headed to Norman to wrestle for the Sooners after going 24-0 this season and winning the state title at 132 pounds. A little bit of a sidebar award here. We're going to break from the individual athlete recognitions and announce the winner of the Tulsa Tech Fans of the Year contest. We do want to thank Tulsa Tech for being a founding sponsor of the All-World Awards and for allowing each season's Fans of the Year winner to receive $1,000 for their school. And to present this year's winner, we will introduce Tulsa Tech's Chief Communications and Economic Development Officer, Tony Haberlin.
The 2019-2020 Tulsa Tech Fans of the Year are Emmanuel Lutheran Christian Academy of Broken Arrow,
Thanks again to Tulsa Tech. And now for our final 2 awards of the evening. Here are the finalists for the Tulsa Bone and Joint Football Offensive Player of the Year. Led off with Cole Duggar from Owasso. He's joined by Asher Link of Metro Christian, Sevion Morrison of Edison, Chase Rickey from Lincoln Christian, and Jack Wright from Regent Prep.
And the winner is Asher Link from Metro Christian.
Congratulations to Asher. Look at what this guy did this last season. 5,394 yards and 73 touchdowns he accounted for. One guy, not one offense, one guy. In the 2A state championship victory over Vian, Link had 406 yards and 6 touchdowns. He's committed to play at Air Force. I just assume that he's going to continue with that kind of, maybe not that kind of production, but that kind of impact on the academy football program. That's fantastic. Congratulations, Asher. And now the finalists for the Bill Knight Automotive Football Defensive Player of the Year. Starting off with Price Allman of Metro Christian, Marcus Esparza from Sepulpa, Connor Johnson from Lincoln Christian, Brennan Presley from Bixby, and Imad Triplett from Owasso.
And the winner is from that great Bixby team, Brennan Presley.
It was a great team, wasn't it? That game against Stillwater, one for the ages in the 6A Division II state championship. The Tulsa World recently caught up with Brennan. He's on his way to play for Mike Gundy and the Cowboys. I'd like to play a portion of that interview for you now.
Sort of like, did you even amaze yourself at what you were able to accomplish at Bixby and 3 state championships?
I mean, sometimes you always like to look back on things and, enjoy it. And I always took that thought process whenever I was at Bixby. So whenever, during workouts or anything, they always told us, live in the moment. So, I mean, looking back on those, it makes me sad more than anything, knowing those are some good times. And, high school is a fun atmosphere to play in. So it makes me sad more than anything, just like thinking back on it.
Well, the good times started, and I remember in the middle of the 2016 season, I was glad I was able to be there that night when you returned in your first varsity game, the opening kickoff for a touchdown, and then the second time you touched the ball, you also scored a touchdown, another big play touchdown. Did the time seem to go by fast for you?
It went by in the blink of an eye. Honestly, I mean, just going from freshman year I was 14 and 19. So I mean, it's a big 4 years is a big leap, and I always heard that going into high school that you snap your fingers and it'll be done like that. But actually going through it, I never thought it would go that quick.
Congratulations again to our 2020 Defensive Player of the Year, Brennan Presley of Bixby, off to star for the Cowboys. The All-World Awards was scheduled to have Tyler Lockett as the featured speaker at our live event. Tyler, of course, is a Booker T. Washington grad, a man whose family has been instrumental not just in terms of athletics at Booker T, but the community throughout the Tulsa Metro. Would have been a great opportunity for everyone in attendance to hear from Tyler. And while we are sorry that we are unable to have the current Seattle Seahawk and former All-American at Kansas State, former All-State performer at Booker T, give a live presentation, we are lucky enough to have had a chance to visit with Tyler remotely, like we've done with some of the award winners here with regard to tonight's show. We'd like to share some of the interview with Tyler now. Thank him for his cooperation and his support of Tulsa high school athletics.
When I went to Booker T. Washington, I think the biggest thing is it really helped me understand a lot about life. Obviously, I left Carver Middle School, and going into high school, there was a lot of things that we thought we weren't going to be able to do anymore, such as just joke around, just different things like that. And once we got into the realm of, say, in football, the first time, because that was summer workouts, we saw that it was the same. It was just a lot of guys that were a bunch older, but everything was the same. Nothing really changed. But I think for me, high school was a time where it allowed me to figure out who I was going to be. A lot of people get steered in the wrong direction. Yeah. They get, involved with peer pressure, and they make decisions that could possibly cost them to be able to do a lot of great things in the future. And so for me, the best thing that I could have ever done was, number one, give my life to God. But number two, I had friends who had the same dreams and the same goals as me, who wanted to be able to do something and make it outside of Tulsa. Mm-hmm. I think one of the worst things that happens when you grow up in Tulsa is just the fact that, for me, for instance, we see a lot of people who have the potential to make it out, but they don't make it out.
Yeah.
Because they don't make it out, it puts a fuel in the fire of us who is coming in after them, and it makes us not want to follow in those same footsteps. And so I think because there was a lot of people who didn't get to chase their dreams or potential because of various reasons, it made us not want to be in the same situation as them. And so we did everything that we could to truly just put ourselves in the best position possible to even be successful.
Yeah. So your growth in that chapter of your life, it sounds, was as much social as athletic. Is that fair to say? I know you grew as an athlete, but it sounds like it was also about social development and awareness as well.
Definitely. I think the biggest thing for me now that I look back is just the fact that being able to play multiple sports, it just protects you from putting yourselves in situations that could cost you 10, 15 years of your life.
Yeah.
And, when we finished football, a lot of guys who just play one sport, they would have to figure out what to do after seventh period, or even during seventh period, because seventh period was our sport. But since we went to basketball, we had something else to distract us. Then we went to track. We had something else to distract us. And once summertime hit, we went into AAU basketball, and then we had summertime workouts. So we were always involved in something. And I think because we were involved in something, it allowed us to be able to create those relationships to where we understood who we could take with us and where we were trying to go and who we would have to leave behind.
Related to what the athletes went through this past year with their seasons getting cut short, especially the winter guys not having a state basketball championship, the spring athletes really not even having a season. Does that, again, you're several years removed from that, but could you feel that? Did you feel bad for those kids? And would that have been difficult for you to come to terms with had that happened to you?
Yeah, definitely. I think that when you see the way that everything played out just within a pandemic, and a lot of guys' seasons got cut short, whether it was women's basketball, whether it was track, whether it was baseball, a lot of guys just didn't get the chance to have the opportunity to be able to go out there and showcase themselves. And it hurt for women who are trying to get a scholarship, for men that are trying to get a scholarship. And it kind of puts you in a weird position because now you got to figure out what you're going to do for college. For those who are sophomores, freshmen, and juniors, they have another chance to come in and still put themselves on the map. But it's hard for guys who usually, when we get into the playoff realm of things, it's hard for everybody to be able to get that scholarship whenever the games just cut off. And so, I think the biggest thing, though, is it depends. During this pandemic, it kind of teaches you and shows you a lot of things as well. But I think it really hurt for a lot of those seniors. If I was in that situation, of course, I would definitely feel devastated, but I would always have to know that this is just a part of the story. Nobody ever thought that you would have to live in a pandemic or even go through a pandemic or experience people who may have gotten sick during the pandemic. But the thing that you realize is there's so many things that are a part of each person's story, and that's what makes our stories unique. There's going to be some people who don't get any scholarships who become the very thing that they always wanted to be, and then they realize that the pandemic would have brought something out of them that they never would have had they not got something taken away from them. And I think that for a lot of us athletes, we don't realize how special and how blessed we are when it comes to the very things that we have until it's taken away. And once you realize that there can be life without any sports, there can be life without entertainment, you start to take it in differently once it comes back. You start to realize the true value of what it really is and what it really means. But at the same time, not being able to have a season, although it sucks, I'm just thankful that a lot of people were able to stay safe during that time.
For sure. You've moved on with regard to your career and your life and have done some incredible things since you left Booker T. But I got to ask, if you could go back and relive it, would you? And or what do you miss most about that experience there?
At Booker T?
Yeah.
I think the best thing that I could ever have experienced is the camaraderie. I can't even say it. I'll say this. The best experience that I could say that I had was with each and every person that I was in class with. As far as the 2011 class, we all went to school together at Carver, and so we all really knew each other growing up all the way until high school. That entire class I thought was amazing. We got to see a lot of people grow, but the biggest thing is we didn't really care about being perfect. We made so many mistakes growing up, but we were always there for each other, and we always wanted the best for each other. And I think that the biggest thing is we held each other accountable, but we also knew what it is that we needed to do to drive the next person around us. It was a different type of competition. It was more of an iron sharpens iron thing rather than this person is doing this and I'm not doing anything. So it becomes more of a jealousy thing. It was none of that, where once you start to get to the league and stuff, you start to witness certain things where people become more jealous, and it's about, I need to feed my family and you taking food off of my family's table. And, it becomes more of a individual sport at times, depending on what team you get on, depending on what players are around you. So I think for me, being able to understand, like when you go back home to Tulsa, you're at this place where you're no longer trying to be perfect. You're no longer worried about people in the world that don't know anything about you. They never knew anything about you until you got to the league. And it's just more of a safe place. And it reminds you where you came from. It reminds you of how, you know, some people, they grow up and they have a silver spoon. You know, they grow up and they're already on third base and they don't know what it's like to even start from home and to work their way around to even get to that place where you can finally say, one more hit and I'm home. You know, for us, we had to work our way around just from growing up in Tulsa, having to make sure that we, you know, make it out of certain areas, don't put ourselves in certain situations and certain scenes. And I think when you just realize everything that you know, overcame, it really puts things in a perspective. And for me, I've always learned how to be content with the little things growing up in Tulsa. And so you grow up now and you see everybody worried about all these things like, oh, I need this type of car. Well, you know, the way we are in Tulsa, we just need a car to get us from point A to point B. But everybody's more worried about the bigger things and the brighter things. But in Tulsa, we learned how to make everything work. And so that's the thing that I truly love just growing up in Tulsa.
Again, congratulations to all of the athletes who competed over the course of a difficult and trying 2019 and 20 school year. We're sorry, again, to the winter and sports athletes whose seasons were cut short. And I know you can't get those games and experiences back. Just please realize the difference that you did make at your school over the course of the year and that you will continue to make, those of you who do return to play in 2020 and 21. Let's hope we're back next summer with a full-fledged show, shall we? In the meantime, thank you once again, Bill, for hosting us, for your sponsorship and support, continued support for Tulsa High School athletics. Thanks to Barry, Mike, and my colleagues at the Tulsa World for their coverage, and thank you for your attention. Good night.